What is going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. And of course, we will talk about the flash crash that happened yesterday. But I want you to rest assured that the cryptocurrency market long term is looking very, very good. And we are going to make money once I show you the data that will truly explain to you why you are so early, my friends. So we can get caught up in the day-to-day absolute madness of the price. But let me show you something. $577 million were wiped out in a single candle during this trading of yesterday. Now, you could argue why this happened. And of course, I'm going to show you the data. This was an exchange-related manipulation. Of course, Scott Bessent came out and of course said that they are going to only use the confiscated Bitcoin and not buying them off the market. And that kind of like helped the exchanges to go screw up the market. Of course, we had the PPI data, but in this channel, we are fully macro focused and we understand PPI data alone does not crash the market. Yes, some people ran away and they started to use that data, but it was all engineered. And I'm actually going to show you the one stat you need to see that allows you to remain calm and understand why you're very early to crypto. So if that sounds interesting, guys, smash a like. Check out my channel partners to help me out. Mexi, if you're trading, you get very good bonuses and discounts or whatever on Mexi. Link is in the description. Of course, grab yourself a Tangent if you haven't already done so. And also get yourself a very good discount on Nansen.ai. Now, let's continue, guys. So there's a lot of fear in the market. A lot of investors are pissed off. They don't know what the F is going on because they're not reading the macro. And of course, this event that I'm specifically talking about, this was nothing to do with you or your investment strategy. This happens. The market was overheated. I've been saying it for months now, guys. Towards mid-late August, mid-September, we need to be super careful because they are going to give us a hell of a time. Emotion, both sides. Okay. So what happens is, let me just explain something to you. So the motive to crash the market, okay, flash crash, the excuses or the actual modus operandi, PPI, hotter than expected, Bessent, US government is not buying Bitcoin off the shelf. And of course, when that happens, what they do is these special liquidation events. And when you see these liquidation events, one thing you realize is that the market had, and I explained it very well to the VIP community. Guys, join our VIP community because no other, small YouTuber is talking about what I'm talking about. So this is absolutely textbook. So I'm going to show you why we're ahead of the game, guys. So markets are manipulated with the smallest whispers, and this was a textbook example. Flash crash in an hour, 5% wiping off. What happened? Inflation surprise, risk of panic. Traders rushed to sell. Of course, record leverage was open on alts, 47 billion. Margin calls, this is important. ETH saw 177, Solana 39 million, XRP 44 million, Bitcoin 120K, from 124K to 118K, we were celebrating all-time high. Now, was this inevitable? The funny thing is, market wasn't just pricing alone the PPIs. This was as significantly compared to labor. Of course, PPIs, compared to labor anyway, and CPI is, of the number 3 in terms of that pecking order. But when open interest balloons, especially on liquid altcoins, smallest moves can trigger ones they call the margin calls. The exchanges have something called auto close positions. Market makers pull the bids. Liquidity vanishes. Prices collapse. Liquidation hits faster than most traders can react. You're in the toilet and you are liquidated. There's no... Was this by accident or design? This was by design. And of course, perpetual futures are built on something called auto close risk. When leverage gets too high, it doesn't unwind, it detonates. Boom! You get absolutely wiped out. And we've seen this playbook before with market makers, exchanges, big whales sending Ethereum back to 1400s. But wouldn't you love to buy Ethereum at 1400s? Of course you would. This particular situation makes no difference. Only difference is we have more and more surprises coming our way. So this is what the lessons are. Learn from your playbook in April, stagger your limit orders. And of course, this is the treat this as a market, a way of shaking the tree before the next push. We understand that, we get that, okay? We get that. So that's exactly what's happened here. Now, here's the one stat that you need for you to really, really chill out and relax, and not too many people pay attention to this. But I'm going to show you, if you zoom out, how early you are to crypto. So this is Bitcoin. Over the last 5 years, it's up about 898%, or just under 9x. Ethereum is just barely doing 10x here. Of course, over a long period of time I'm talking about, okay? But look how early you are to assets like, BNB is incredible. Solana here is incredible. But look at Sui, right? Look at Sui. Sui has, first of all, hasn't been around for even 3 years here. It hasn't got the data for 3 years or 5 years. It hasn't been there. But Sui, over the last 12 months, is up 358%, or 3.5x. What do you think Sui is going to be 3 years, 5 years from now, right? See the data there, guys. This is what is done in the last 12 months, right? So you have to understand, in terms of certain asset classes, you are incredibly early. Look at Hedera's 5-year returns, right? These assets are only taking off now, 375% over 5 years. I'm not in the game for that, but that's why you're early to the game. Look at Avalanche. Avalanche, actually, 3-year return is negative 7%. So it hasn't really gone anywhere. 12 months is 24%. This data here is going to make you money. And I'm going to deserve a like on this video, because I'm going to tell you how it is. Not all assets are built equal, but if you believe in something over time, then it will definitely change your life. I am too late to Bitenso Tao. Well, Bitenso Tao in the last 12 months has been up 42%, of course. And in the last, I think this data set here is the last 180 days. Data set is that Tao only changed small percentage, 5% over that time. So you're not late to Bitenso Tao. You definitely are not late to Ondo Finance. Ondo has returned 90-day 11% and an annual change of price of just 42%. Guys, this is very, very important. And same for Kaspa. So if you look at Kaspa right now, Kaspa's ROI is negative for the last 12 months. It's negative because Kaspa was running wild in the previous 12 months. So right now, you've not really made money. You've actually lost 44% value in Kaspa. So you are not late. And this is why assets like, for example, Pengu, these smaller assets, let's have a look at Render. These will all do very, very well, guys. You have to think like this. Don't look at the market cap. Look at what the market wants to do with these assets. All right. I hope you liked the video. And of course, this is an awesome, awesome breakdown, because I don't think anyone else has given you this information here. Aerodrome Finance over the last, $1.40. Yeah, I'm too late. Are you? Are you too late? Because what I'm looking at is when investors start to understand what they're holding, and then they start to get into this Solana and BNB mindset. So this is BNB, 3,500%. Look at Solana, 5,726%. And there's assets like that. Dogecoin, 6,458%. Now you're talking, guys. Now you're talking, So understand what I'm telling you is, eventually, if the crash comes, it comes. Now, ultimately, the US government will not allow for a prolonged stock market crash. Okay? So retirement accounts, 401ks, brokerage accounts. There's so many things that's happening in the economy that are positive. So should you go in all in? Not really. I would DCA, as always. Wait for the crash. Risk of waiting forever. If the drop never comes, we know the stock market has been up for over 200 years. Crypto is starting to behave like that. The US government cannot let the markets crash. And if they let it crash, like we saw before, they will not let it stay down for long. Why is that? Because they have a massive debt, right? Over 100% of the GDP, debt to GDP. And of course, they are paid over $1 trillion a year in interest on that. So that's not feasible for the government to actually fall like that. So if markets stay down, tax revenue would fall massively, debt ratios would spike, confidence in the dollar would crumble. So instead, why choose to slow inflation over a sudden collapse? And that's why in every major crash, the Federal Reserve, the Fed, prints money, steps in, rate cuts come in, and the market gets a massive, massive injection and support. And we talk about that in the VIP as well. And I give you specific reasons as to why and when and why the TGE Fed account matters and when it will be filled. All right, guys. So there you have it. There's the real data for you to go and make a wise choice, and do not ignore. I think the likes of, for example, Pengu and Pump, if we're talking about tokens that will kind of run as well in the larger caps, I think you need to keep a close eye on those as well, guys. Smash a like, let me know your comments. Of course, I'm not talking about micro caps in this video. I'm giving you a macro strategy, which is way more important sometimes because you could always trade micro caps, buy and sell them as and when you need to. Take care, guys. Leave your comments.